Aloha, it's me. I did cook today, and I had thought about discussing vinegars and the differences in vinegars because I made an escabeche today because we have a ton of hot peppers growing and a ton of tomatoes. So I made an escabeche. Ran out of white vinegar in the middle of the recipe and had to substitute. Yep. Even pickled vegetables have preferences. But something happened today, and I want to talk about that instead. And though I might detail the escabeche and the hot salsa, yes, I made hot salsa. Even the one with the mango is still freaking hot. Thank God John likes hot food. But something happened today. It made me think, wow, we're all different. And we all have different experiences and different backgrounds, and so different tastes or different experiences that make us appreciate or understand things differently. Well, let me start by saying aloha. I am Pauline Hau'oli and I am the youngest of 8 children to Samuel Pilialoha Wright Sr. and Phyllis Eileen Kameha Ililani Sidad Wright. I was not born in the state of Hawaii. However, I grew up here. The state of Hawaii is a huge melting pot. Besides the Native Hawaiians, there are people who are transplants here, people who were brought in as immigrant help for the great plantations like C&H and the pineapple farm factories and whatnot. So we have a lot of Asians, Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos, and they are all huge influences in the food here, and in the culture and what's norm and what how people interact, just because we're all different and therefore the same. So that's who I am. That's my background. And so the reason I wanted to talk about that is because something happened today that made me think, whoa, wow. And I get it. And I totally understand that this thing that happened today was from someone who I love dearly, but didn't grow up like I did, didn't have the same experiences that I did. And so had no clue that that was a somewhat offensive thing for some people, maybe hurtful to others. And it made me think, do you know who I am? Do you know what my background is? Do you understand where I'm coming from? I am Hawaiian. I'm Portuguese. I grew up here in Hawaii and I have a huge flavor profile. I pretty much love all food. If you know me, you can tell why. Being Hawaiian, I grew up with poi. Poi is the norm here. Even if you're not Hawaiian, you grew up with poi. If you were a baby and you grew up here, you had poi in the first year of your life because poi is nutritious. It's good for you. It's easy to eat. Poi is the product of kalo, taro. It's a root vegetable. It is processed, heated, cooked down, steamed, however you prefer, and mashed and incorporated with water. And it's made into a consistency like a creamy mashed potato. It is purposefully bland because the original intent was for poi to counterbalance salty foods. Native Hawaiians that grew up here had kalo. They also had salt. Hello, we're an island. There are oceans around us. We're going to have sea salt, right? So when they cooked, they had food with lots of salt, like our kalua pig or our lome salmon, which is a salt-cured salmon. And so those foods were really rich and really salty and needed a counter, needed something bland like white bread, quote unquote, to eat with those foods. And so that's why poi is basically flavorless and or paste-like. And I get it that some people feel like that. Oh, it tastes like paste. Fine. Not to me. To me, it's a comfort food. To me, it's what I grew up with. To me, I could eat poi even without the kalua pig. It is just especially fresh. It's lovely. It's home. It's fulfilling. And I understand that people don't get it. But and you're welcome to your opinion. But don't make me feel ignorant or bad or lesser than you because you don't like it. A couple of months ago, something happened. Someone who I love doesn't like to eat nori. Nori is seaweed. It's processed, dried seaweed. Basically what you see wrapped around sushi or musubis or a lot of things, actually. And it is an Asian staple. I mean, they use it to even just eat as a snack. And so this person who was visiting, we had planned a beach day, and I was like, awesome. We'll go stop at the store. We'll get some musubis, which is a rice and nori snack. And they were instantly reviled and could not understand how somebody could eat nori. And over the course of 3 days, made it a point to say something negative about nori. I get it. You don't like it. You don't have to like it. I'm not going to force feed you. In fact, I often say, more for me. You don't like the poi? Great. Can I have yours? If you don't like nori, no problem. I'll eat it. More for me is what I like to say. But don't bring your issues to my house. You don't like it. You want to gag. You don't want it. Don't touch it. But don't make me feel bad or poor or common or stupid or revolting because I enjoy it. So I don't think that person realized how hurtful she was being by constantly remarking about how nori made her, feel. The first time she said it, I said, no worries, you don't have to have any. I just thought maybe you'd like to try something that is local, something that we all grew up eating, but don't feel any pressure. At that point, step off your bandwagon, get off the soapbox, and go do your own thing. Go get your own fucking food. But don't make me feel bad for what I feel is comforting. If I'm going to eat the poi, let me enjoy my poi. You don't want it? No problem. So all of that to say, I understand if my norm isn't your norm. I understand if a recipe I'm sharing isn't what you want to do. Go, move on. Don't give me a like. I'm not forcing you to cook anything, to eat anything or whatever. I'm just sharing what I do. And a lot of what I do is based on my experiences, my livelihood, growing up in Hawaii, having friends of all cultures and being exposed to all those different foods. And if you weren't, and that's not the norm, I get it. But on the same token, don't knock it until you try it. That's probably the other thing about all of this. When people say, oh, poi, it tastes like paste. Oh, nori, it's so gross. It's something from the ocean. Oh, it's, you know what? That might be your perspective, but don't make other people feel grossed out by it so that they never try it. Like a child. You know what? Let them decide for themselves. You know, that whole pronoun shit, the same thing goes for food. If you, as a parent, cannot handle lima beans, that's fine. That's your thing. But let your child decide for themselves whether or not they like lima beans. Just saying. So, aloha. My name is Pauline Hau'oli and I Wright. I am the youngest of 8 children, born to Samuel Pilialoha Wright Sr. and Phyllis Eileen Kamehailani Siddard Wright. And I love poi. I love nori. And actually, I love a lot of food. And I will always try something before I discount it. And I will never make somebody feel little for something that is normal to them. So if you got something you want to share with me, no problem. I will try it. Even if it burns the roof of my mouth, even if it's still crawling as I crunch it, I will try it. I might not like it, but I won't make you feel bad for your normal, for your customs, for enjoying what you enjoy. As I always say, you do you. This is me. I love you all. Mahalo for listening to my diatribe and for sticking in there. And next time you hear, I will not make you eat poi unless you want to. More for me if you don't. I will not make anybody eat nori or anything else they don't want to try. Now the escabeche, that's really, really good. I'm just saying. But that's for another time after I test it on full white vinegar. Then we'll talk about vinegar. Love you.